Hello, I'm Lam. Welcome back to Keeping Up with the Queen. Today we are going to do a little bit of a different video. I'm going to let you take a glimpse into my life. What do I do when I'm not filming YouTube videos, which is basically the last 6 months. And I would love it if you could let me know in the comment section below what you think of this type of video. What do you do yourself when you're not on YouTube? Let's turn this into a conversation so that I don't feel like I'm talking by myself in my room into a camera. If you've been enjoying what you see on my channel and want to support me, please click the subscribe button and click the bell notification button so you never miss out when I upload a video. Let's go! Oh, hi! Oh my god, this is way too serious. Let me unbutton some. Hi, home buyers! Welcome to this buyer consultation Zoom call or whatever you want to identify or call this. But basically, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a lot of information about the home buying process from the beginning to the end so that you know what to expect. You do not have to remember all of it. I'm going to talk about 4 things. First, is how I typically work with my home buyers to help them identify and get to the decision, finding the right home that match what they're looking for. I'm going to talk about the offer process, how it's going to be, what is going to be involved, what is to be expected. And the third thing is that we're going to talk about the transaction, which is the time that starts when the offer is accepted and you have mutual acceptance of the contract, until the day that you get your keys to your new house. Finally, we are going to open up my computer, share my screen with you. We're going to jump onto the MLS and set up your home search together. It's pretty simple, straightforward. I'm going to try to make it as fun as possible. First off, let's talk about the process of finding the right home for you, leading to that perfect house. Assuming that you've never bought a home before, and obviously every state, every market is going to be different. Specifically, the real estate market in Washington State. The process of identifying that perfect house is basically an eliminating process. During this time, we are going to tour a bunch of homes, both me and you. We're going to learn what works and what doesn't work for you, what you like and what you don't like, and expectation that you have versus the reality of the market, what is actually available. Because let's be honest, there's no perfect house. If you're out of state or if you don't have time, I can totally do video tours for you. I walk through the house and tell you what I think of it, just like if I were with you. Typically, homes are listed onto the real estate market on Thursday and Friday. You're going to get an email notification because we set up a home search for you. Here, there are some homes, there are some listings that maybe match what you're looking for. And if you like any of them, if you want to tour them, you can let me know, reach out to me, or if I see anything interesting, I'll reach out to you. Once we agree on the schedule, I'll book some homes back to back for us and we can go out that weekend, tour them, and we're just gonna do that every week until we get more and more familiar with the market, what's going on, and what works and doesn't work for you. The real estate market is funny because it varies a lot. That's why you need a good agent to represent you from the beginning, from the touring time, because the market is changing based on inventory versus demand, and also another side is the seasonal aspect of things. In summers and winters, you're not going to see a lot of activities because, vacation, holidays, people don't want to deal with buying or selling. Then in spring and in fall, people are going back to it after their vacations and holidays and they need to move still. So in those times, which are the hot times, you are going to have a lot more options to choose from, but obviously also more competition. And in the slower season, you're going to have less options, less listings out there every week, but also less competition. Just so you know, whatever seasons, there are going to be options and there are going to be different strategies we can use to get you the best home and the best deal. So I'm assuming doing this that your timeline is about 6 months out, so you're expecting to buy a house in 6 months. That's a typical timeline for a lot of my buyers. The transaction is going to take about 30 to 40 days from the days that your offer is accepted to the day that you get your key. So we can factor that into that 6 months. That's totally doable. It's just something you should know. And now we finally find the one. And you're like, okay, I am ready. I see myself living in this house. Everything looks good. I understand that I have to do some compromising, but overall it has a great potential for me and my family. What's next? Well, we put in an offer. What is it gonna be like? Oh, this is the very, very, very interesting part. Sometimes stressful, but mostly fun. The purpose of the offer is to give the sellers what they want, as well as protecting you so that you are not walking into some disaster house. Contingencies are there to protect you mainly as a buyer. So the offer is actually protecting you more so than the sellers. When we are putting the offer together and considering what contingencies we want to put into the offer, we have to consider two things. One is the condition of that market at that time. Is it a slow market? Is it a hot market? If it is a slow market, great for you as a buyer. We can use all of the contingency. We can put all of them in there to protect you. If it is a hot market, meaning now one house has more than a few offers coming in, or just even more than one, then we have to consider more carefully of what contingency is more important. That leads to the next thing you need to consider is what are your priorities? Do you want to absolutely get the house? Do you want to get the best deal possible? Or you want to have the best protection out there? Obviously, we want all three all the time. It's just something to think about. Contingency, some examples, financing contingency, which is protecting you in case you've already tried your best, but something really weird happened and you cannot obtain your loan with the lender. Then you don't lose your earnest money. We're going to talk about the earnest money later. We also have I did talk about that. We also have inspection contingency, which means you can inspect the house. If there's any problem at all with the house, you can back out of the contract. Title contingency is to make sure that there's not a cloud or any weird things on the title. If there are extra people that should be on title that we don't know of, the sellers are not disclosing, things like that, then we can back out. Appraisal contingency is part of the financing contingency. Appraising is a process that the lender does to make sure that the house is worth as much as they are giving you the money for. There are more contingencies, but these are the basic ones. And when it comes to that time, if there's like specific things, like if there's a well in the house or if there's septic, then we have different contingency we can add on to it, but that's a lot. So I'll just end there. We're gonna put an offer together and I will do that. And then I will let you read through them. Ask any question you might have because it's a lot of wordings and many pages. After you're clear, you can sign it online and then send it back to me. I will submit it to the sellers and that's gonna be the negotiation process. So they're gonna counter back, send a counter offer. They might cross out some things, they might change some things that is gonna be in their favor. We are able to counter back as well. And once you have reached a mutual agreement and both parties sign the contract, you are now having a binding contract and we are going to the next step of the process, which is the transaction. The transaction process typically in Washington state lasts anywhere from 30 to 40 days, and that's the time when all the contingencies are in action. We get mutual acceptance. The next day, escrow is going to reach out to you to schedule earnest money deposit. So earnest money, what is it? Now we finally get to the answer. Is part of your down payment for the house. So let's say you are doing a conventional loan, 20% down payment. Earnest money can be anywhere from 3 to 5% or how many percent of the home price. The amount is going to show how serious you are in purchasing this home to the sellers, and it's going to make your offer more attractive and they're going to be more inclined to accept it. Of course, the amount of earnest money and a lot of the dynamics and the things that we put in the offer greatly varies based on the condition of the market and again your priorities. Give this earnest money to escrow, which is a third party, to hold on to it, and at the end when the transaction is closed and you have the house, it's going to be sent to the seller. So after the earnest money is deposited, which is like 1 to 3 days after mutual acceptance, it can be wired or checked or however you and escrow want to set it up. The next thing to do is to finish your loan application with the lender. Simultaneously, the inspection period kicks in. We're going to get an inspector out into the house and look through it, and they're going to write us a report. And based on that, we are going to say, hey, we're happy with the inspection. There's nothing wrong with the house. Or what is the typical case is there are some minor things going on with the house. And we're going to tell the sellers basically, hey, we want these fixed. And the negotiating starts again. Like the seller's going to say, okay, I agree with that. Or, oh, I want to fix these and I'm going to not do the other ones. And until you agree with that, it's like a back and forth. The other case is if the inspection comes out, the report comes out and you read it and it's absolutely terrible and you don't want the house anymore, you now have the option to walk away and get your earnest money back. Simultaneously, again, the lender is going to, after you complete your loan application, they're going to get an appraiser out there to appraise the house to see, okay, if this house has the same value as the list price. Most of the time, it's going to be appraised at value because the appraiser will take into considerations a lot of things. And it's a different thing from the inspection. 2 or 3 days before closing day, we're going to do a final walkthrough of the house to make sure if they agree to fix something, they did that, or if the house is in the same condition as when you sent in the offer. If you're happy with the final walkthrough, you're going to move on to the next step. You're going to do a signing with a notary, and you're going to wire all the rest of the money that you need to pay. And then we are closing on the closing date, and I will give you your keys to your new house. Some of the out-of-pocket costs for you is obviously earnest money, which is a part of the down payment, inspection fee. There are some other fees associated with escrow, title, and lenders, and we're gonna go through that later. And actually, you're gonna talk to those parties about those things. But I can point you to the right person. The sun is out again, ruining my lighting. Welcome to Washington weather. Where were we? How do I get paid? So when a seller agrees with the listing agent and the listing firm to list their house on the market, they agree to pay them a commission amount, typically a percentage of the sold price for the home. And then the listing firm agrees with the buyer's agent who split a incorporating fee commission to us. So it's a split between two. That's how I get compensated for my work. My responsibilities during this month when things are happening with your transaction are to make sure things happen when they're supposed to happen and check in with you, answer all of your questions and concern, and act on your behalf to do any kind of negotiation with the sellers and the listing agent. Your responsibilities are to respond to all of the parties involved, like the lenders, escrow, title, inspector, me, in a timely manner, and, do anything that you need to do on time too. So time is, I guess, the essence of this statement. That's basically it. And you're gonna be a home owner! Congratulations! We're getting to the last section of our meeting today, which is let's open the MLS together. I will share my screen. Let's set up your home search so that you see what's out there for you and what to expect. That's it for the meeting today. If you do not have any more questions, I will see you this weekend to see some house together. Bye-bye! There you go. I hope you enjoy that little bit of my day right there. That's basically what I do when I'm not filming YouTube video for a living because I make so much money on here. From the next video on is going to be back on beauty stuff again, I promise. I have a lot of products that I've been testing out and have been wanting to make videos for you, reviews them, compare them, whatever. Now that I have my setup, it's gonna be a blast. If you or anyone you know need help with buying or selling their home or just have general questions, all my contact information is in the description box. I hope you have a great day, a great night, wherever you are. I will see you in my next video. Until next time, please don't flop.